What's good, YouTube? It's Nas, and we back with another video. Road to 1,000 subscribers, of course. And LaMelo Ball has been traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and we're gonna talk about it because obviously I've been hearing a lot of mixed opinions while I've been outside, in which had a conversation with my brother, and I'm like, I gotta make this video because speaking from a non-biased, me trying not to be biased because y'all know this is my favorite player. The basketball opinions about LaMelo Ball absolutely blow my mind. Like, the only way you can see this not as a win for the Minnesota Timberwolves is his health issue, and that's just my basic opinion. Obviously, LaMelo Ball comes with the player, which he's an exciting player. Obviously, he does some stuff that other point guards don't do. You do have sometimes a shot selection issue, which I do feel like he has cut a lot of that shit out of his game, and which when you're talking about LaMelo, you're talking about the player that he used to be. And obviously, when I'm hearing not a winner and the Minnesota Timberwolves just traded for a player that isn't going to be a winning player and Ant's going to want to leave. Like, when I see that shit and it just happened, it just blows my mind about the basketball opinion, what we have on LaMelo Ball, because in my opinion, LaMelo Ball is one of the best offensive players in the game right now, and the numbers back it up. Eye test backs it up. He was the offensive engine for the Charlotte Hornets, who had one of the best offenses of all time, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So when we're talking about this Minnesota Timberwolves team adding LaMelo, it will unlock their offense. It will give Anthony Edwards finally a point guard that he can actually rely in, and actually a player, not even speaking about the point guard aspect of it, a player that obviously you can't help off of. And at any moment during the Minnesota Timberwolves teams throughout the last 2 years, you felt like you can help off of anybody except for Anthony Edwards. When LaMelo gets there, you can't help off either of those two, because we know LaMelo Ball, when he gets hot from the three-point line, he will knock down 10 of those bitches. So when you look at that as a player, and obviously you break down his passing, because he is one of the best playmakers in the league. There's no questioning that. But when we talk about the winning aspect about it, because nobody's going to care about the regular season, basically, because the Timberwolves have done this before, and we know they will have a winning record. It will be exciting. But when we talk about the nitty gritty, like the saying that he is not a winning player, I already discussed this. Like, it really pisses me off. Like, when I see this shit, I just have to scroll, because I'm just genuinely not doing that. I want y'all to tell me a player right now, do y'all think that y'all think that could have led that Charlotte Hornets team before this season into a play-in or playoff push? Yeah, I want y'all to let me know right now. And I want y'all to know, actually, or I want y'all to let me know, or can y'all name me 5 players that have been actually great at basketball as either an elite role player, or even name me a star that LaMelo Ball has played with since he entered the league? Can you do that? Because I can't. All I could think of is an old, injury-prone Gordon Hayward, obviously. You think of Terry Rozier being this offensive role player. You think of Kelly Oubre. You think of Miles Bridges. Those are his best teammates going into year 7, him being 24, turning 25. Like, this is by far going to be the best group he's ever played with, and I'm excited. This is by far the first roster you can say definitively that he is the second option, which I told y'all before. LaMelo will play his best basketball as a number 2 option. Like, as a number 1, you're probably not going to get far, but him being your number 2 takes you a whole nother level, in which obviously I don't see a lot of people seeing that. I just see people taking, obviously, him shooting contested shots, him taking ridiculously long shots as obviously a burden. And to be honest with you, if you're asking me, I'd rather my star player take those shots than the G Leaguers, because LaMelo multiple times, rather than a little bit of times, that didn't even make sense, but LaMelo Ball, more likely than not, has been playing with G Leaguers most of his career, two-way players most of his career. And in this Timberwolves situation, that won't happen. Next, we get on to the efficiency part, in which obviously the efficiency is not a good look. And obviously people can tell you that, a player that's shooting sub 40, but there's a lot of times, more likely than not, LaMelo is forced into bad situations because of his gravity. And obviously what I mean about gravity, like, LaMelo Ball sees the defense more times than not, even with Con Knueppel, with Brandon Miller emerging. And when you look at that as obviously a bright spot, you saw LaMelo Ball's playmaking take another jump. LaMelo Ball played less minutes than he's ever played, and he still averaged basically the same amount of assists that he did during when he was playing when he was averaging 30 minutes per game. So you have to look at that as to an account too also. So when you look at LaMelo Ball as a player and what the Minnesota Timberwolves are getting, I just don't see how anybody could rate this as a loss for the Minnesota Timberwolves, because they're obviously getting better, and you're obviously finally getting a point guard, a real point guard next to Anthony Edwards, which will open up Ant's game so much. I think we're underestimating how much Anthony Edwards is going to open up with LaMelo Ball on the court with him. I just don't see enough people talking about that. And when we talk about Anthony Edwards, obviously he's wanting to play with a star. Anthony Edwards has been playing with Julius Randle and friends ever since Karl Anthony Towns left, where Karl Anthony Towns was traded to the New York Knicks, and obviously we seen Cat get a ring. So Ant was obviously not going to be happy unless you bring a star to town. And LaMelo Ball, probably the most confusing, obviously, to casual media, because I sat there and watched all 82 games of LaMelo Ball, so I know the player, what the Minnesota Timberwolves are getting. Sometimes you are going to get these NT mistakes, but the mistakes come with the good, in my opinion, of that basketball player, and that's what LaMelo Ball will bring you, because LaMelo Ball, when he is on and when he is flourishing, and obviously a lot of the mistakes that he used to make are really cut out of his game, you wouldn't notice it, because obviously we still talk about the past, and the Hornets have been in no man's land. And obviously the play-in tournament, or the first one against Miami, didn't look good, but the last one against the Magic, nobody showed up but him. So we're not looking at it to that aspect either. But when you look at this Timberwolves team, right, because I just spent most of this video talking about the LaMelo Ball aspect of this trade, because I've been seeing a lot of criticism, which is crazy, but I see a lot of good, because I feel like if you watch LaMelo, you know what he brings to the table. I feel like I'm arguing with a fucking wall, because if you have this opinion about LaMelo, it's not going to change whether I say it or not. And when you watch the games and when you watch it actually happen live, yeah, I feel like there's going to be a lot of people switching their narratives about him once the season starts and he's playing with the Timberwolves. So I look forward to that. But when we're talking about this Charlotte Hornets team, obviously you get Naz Reid, you finally get a starting power forward, but you're losing your offensive engine. And now it makes the obvious obvious. So let's say that. Con Knueppel and Brandon Miller are your future of your team, and now you have to get them to get in the lab, because they have to figure out how to score without being spoon-fed. And I do have full confidence in Con Knueppel, but Brandon Miller this season, or last season, didn't really look good with the ball in his hands. I'm not gonna lie to you. He didn't look good as a playmaker. He did look good when he was getting to his spots and going actually to score. So you look for Brandon Miller to actually get his handle up, but he's going to be injured throughout this summer, so I don't know how he possibly works on his handle. So you look at that, and obviously you look at him getting a huge contract extension, and you basically got your future. And you got Naz Reid finally getting his opportunity to start at the power forward position, because Miles Bridges will be moved too, and Kobe White gets re-signed, and I just don't see how you could think this is a good move for Charlotte whatsoever. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm happy for the Timberwolves. I'm happy as a LaMelo Ball fan, but for the Hornets, I just don't know how you don't ride out the wave unless you just don't have any faith in LaMelo Ball staying healthy like he did this season, and you think it's just an outlier season, because obviously LaMelo or the Charlotte Hornets seasons have been coming to an end, or they've been good with LaMelo on the court even before Con Knueppel arrived, but he gets injured and then everything goes to shit. And then now you finally have a roster around him which is built for LaMelo's strength, fast pace, obviously getting shooters open, and now you ship him out. And obviously you having one of the greatest turnarounds in NBA history, and now that's all gone with your offensive engine getting traded away. And now you look at Charlotte as a place, where do they go? Because the East is going to be loaded. And I had full confidence with LaMelo Ball out there, and now with Kobe White holding down the fort at the point guard position, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't believe. And they do have a $40 million They do have a 40 million trade exemption, but who do you possibly get that is on the market that can replace LaMelo Ball's productivity for the Charlotte Hornets? And I just can't answer that question. Yes, they got a first round pick for 2033. Like, I don't really care about that right now. Nobody is. And you got 3 pick swaps for the next couple years. And let's keep it a buck. Do we think the Charlotte Hornets are going to be a better team than the Minnesota Timberwolves over the next couple years? Absolutely not. So when you look at this deal, I feel like we're just looking at it from a LaMelo Ball aspect of, oh my God, LaMelo Ball is a flashy player, bro. Like, he's just so fucking unserious. He doesn't take the game serious. In reality, it's just his creativity, I feel like. And when you're watching it, you can see it. And you're obviously going to see everybody else on the team make them look great. And obviously, these are actual good players on the Timberwolves team. So you're going to see them look even better than they actually are. And that's what LaMelo did throughout his seasons in Charlotte, making them look better than what they are. Because some of the times he was out there with G Leaguers and he made them look like actual players. Like, what happened to Cody Martin and Caleb Martin? I want y'all to let me know. Like, where's Mason Plumlee at? Wasn't Mason Plumlee the starter for the Hornets this season? Wasn't he on the bench with the Spurs during their player? Like, yeah, I don't know. But I want y'all to know. I want y'all to let me know how y'all feel about this LaMelo Ball trade to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Subscribe. What's good, y'all? If y'all made it to the end of this video, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And my last video is on your screen, and the channel icon's on your screen too. So click one of them if you want to continue watching my videos. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. It helps the algorithm push me out. And I appreciate y'all for watching this video nonetheless.